Hi, everybody. Jeff Marr from STEM School Highlands Ranch. And joining me is Ashmi Sengupta. Ashmi is a fifth grader at STEM and not only just a student at STEM School Highlands Ranch, but also now a published author. That's right. She wrote and published this book titled Rita and the Range, which is being sold right now on Amazon. Ashmi, thank you for joining us to talk about this amazing achievement.
Of course.
So let's talk about Rita and the Range. So this book, it took you a year to design and you made all the pictures, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And what was that experience like?
Well, the experience was fun and I liked it. So making this made me happy. So in my spare time, I liked writing and drawing. So I just created a book. So it was kind of fun.
Looking at the back cover of this book, I'm just going to read the description of it to everybody so they kind of understand what it's about. 12-year-old Rita lives in a world of her own, a rebel by nature, headstrong, ambitious, and adventurous. Angry on her loved ones, she heads out to face the world of her own in search for answers, and armed with the willpower, she realizes that the world is not what it seems. Incredible monsters, unexplained people, vanishing vehicles, and a long-lost magical land from long-forgotten dreams. Rita's thin line between fact and fantasy begins to blur. Her sense of time is lost. Will she make it? What realization awaits Rita? This roller coaster ride, which will keep readers guessing until the end. So that is the description of the book. It makes me really interested in reading it. How did you come up with the concept for that plot?
Well, from a young age, I like reading stories. So I thought if I could get my own book published, I would add a lot of adventure, fantasy, like these type of stuff, because I like reading fantasy novels and stories. Right now, I'm on Harry Potter, so I like adding these type of stuff. So that is basically what inspired me to make this plot. So um, I thought about a girl who was going to leave her house and go around the world. So that's what the word range comes from.
And one thing that I also wanted to ask you about was the pictures in the book, the drawings, and, because that adds a whole new element to not only just writing the story and figuring out the proper use of grammar and everything else, but to add pictures is another often challenging element to storytelling and publishing. So that must have taken you a long time as well.
Yes, it has taken me a long time. And a cool thing I did is I like to draw, I like to illustrate stuff before writing onto it. So I like to draw pictures and then I write stories according to them. So I like drawing pictures first and then writing stories then.
What causes Rita to leave her house? Why did she decide to do that?
Well, some children in this world, they just sometimes have so much on their minds, like they have chores, they have so much homework, they have so much duties. They just feel like, why can't I just leave all of this and I want to go somewhere else where I can live independently and I can live free. But when they start doing so, they feel like their house was the best place they've lived in. So this is basically kind of the plot I put into my story.
Well, I think a lot of adults can relate to that too, with the stresses in this world and the need to get away. Now, when you started writing this story, did you write it with the intention of getting it published, or was that something that came about later unexpectedly?
Well, it's the second option. I was writing this for fun, and I showed it to my parents, and my parents said, if you want, we can get it published if you keep on writing, and they did. So it was like a surprise to me, and it got it published on my birthday.
Wow. So did they have some connections to some publishers to make this happen, or did they kind of do a grassroots effort to make it possible to get it published?
Well, it was kind of, let's say, both. They used Amazon self-publishing. So they thought that the companies there, it's going to be too slow. It would take about 6 months or a year to finish. So they thought about doing it self-published.
So what was your reaction when this book was finally published? Knowing that this is now a reality, that in 5th grade, you are a published author.
It was really exciting for me, and I was really happy. So I was really excited about all of this happening. It's like a dream coming true.
And does it make you want to publish more books? Are you planning to do more writing in the future?
Yes, I am. I've got a second book idea in my mind, so I'm gonna start writing that.
Now, did you have some personal inspiration in writing this book? I know you talked about the stresses that kids go through with school and chores and wanting to kind of get away from it all. Are those some of the things that you've experienced personally in your life, and that's how you kind of were able to transcend some of that reality to Rita's situation?
Well, at sometimes I did. Sometimes I got so much pressure on my minds. I just thought if I could leave this house, it would be awesome. Um, but when someone like tries to take even a step outside their front door, they think staying at their house is better.
There's no place like home.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the old saying. There's no place like home. And Ashmi, you recently visited STEM School Highlands Ranch and went to our elementary school classrooms, and you took questions from our elementary students about the publishing process and this book that you wrote. Uh, did you find that a lot of these students are inspired? Do you think that it really got their minds going as to what storytelling can result in?
Yes, the teachers in the classrooms I visited, they were inspired, and they were telling their students, you could keep on going like this. You could start writing stories, and you could get them self-published. So I think that inspired many people to do this.
Yeah, and for them to also see a fellow STEM student who was able to do this is definitely inspiring. And that's great to know that you already have your mind set on a second book. So we look forward to that. Rita and the Range is on Amazon, and it actually is for sale. Have you already sold some copies?
Well, yes, I have. I have sold some copies.
Well, that's exciting. Yeah, this whole process is incredibly exciting, and what an accomplishment. Did you have any advice for students out there who maybe they have an amazing story that they've written down, or at least they have an idea of an amazing story, but they just haven't figured out how to take that step of getting something published? What advice would you have for them if they wanted to actually, do what you did?
Well, I would say search the internet. So the tips I can give is I used the portal for Amazon. So it's called self-publishing. Um, Me and my dad did the official stuff, and I just gave the book to him. So you can get it published too, free for in Amazon. So it's going you'll get a real book published. And my book is on Kindle too, so you can read it on there also. So if you have a book like lying around, if you have a story lying around, you can always ask your parents if you can publish it.
Well, it's really awesome to see, Ashmi. And the last question for you has to do with your future. Are you wanting to become an author one day? Maybe that's your career, or are you interested in getting into literature? Have you thought about kind of where you want this to take you long term?
In school, my favorite subject is language arts and science, but I haven't planned for being a English teacher, like not going through English. I've always wanted to be a doctor or a scientist, but writing is my passion and so is illustrating. So I just like doing these for fun.
Well, what an amazing accomplishment. And thank you for taking the time to talk to us about this book, Rita and the Range, available now on Amazon. Ashmi, congratulations on the book. And we wish you continued success. Definitely very proud of you from all of us at the STEM community. And it looks like an awesome book, and I can't wait to read it myself.
Thank you. Of course.